Shalom, shalom, shalom. Welcome to another episode of Daily Tonic in the World right here on GC Create TV. And I remain your humble host, Daniel Fiesnao Yashirala. And firstly, I'd like to apologize for being off a couple of weeks. It's not really my fault. I've been going through a lot recently, but though we might go through the trials of faith, but with the will and the help of Yahuwah, we'll always bounce back to our feet. The storm will never stop. We just got to keep pushing. That's I'm back here today. Yes, we'll continue from where we stopped at the previous episode, which is in the book of Shemu'el Ri'shon, starting from chapter 17, which says, "Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and were gathered together at Soko, which belongs to Yehuda, and pitched between Soko and Azekah in Ephek Damim. And Shaul and the men of Yasharel were gathered together and pitched by the valley of Elah, and set the battle in Hari against the Philistines. And the Philistines stood on the mountain on the one side, and Yasharel stood on the mountain on the other side. And there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath, of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. And he had a helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass." Imagine, shekels of brass. "And he had greaves of brass upon his leg, and a target of brass between his shoulders, and the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron. And one bearing a shield went before him, and he stood and carried unto the armies of Yasharel, and cried, he stood and cried unto the armies of Yasharel, and said unto them, Why are ye come out to set your battle in array? Am not I a Philistine, and ye servants of Shaul? Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. If he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall he be our servants and serve us." And the Philistines said, "I defy the armies of Yasharel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together." Imagine the same other nation that Yahuwah said that not a dog shall move its mouth against my chosen ones. Now it's the same other nation that right to open his mouth to defy Yah's people. But let us read down what happened. Verse 11, "When Shaul and all Yasharel heard this word of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid." Why? Because of his height? Probably. Now David, the son of the Ephraim of Beit Lechem, Yehuda, whose name was Yishai, and he had 8 sons, and the man went among the men of an old man in the days of Shaul. And the 3 eldest sons of Yishai went and followed Shaul to the battle, and the names of his 3 sons that went to the battles were Eliab the firstborn, and the next unto him Abinadab, and the third Shammah. And David was the youngest of the three oldest followed Shaul. Sorry, David was the youngest, and the three oldest followed Shaul. And but David went and returned from Shaul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. And the Philistine drew near morning and evening and presented himself 40 days. For 40 days he has been coming to defy the army of Yasharel with his word. And Yishai said unto David his son, take now for your brethren an ephah of this parched grain and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to your brethren, and carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their thousands, and look how your brother fares, and take their pledge. Now Shaul and they and all the men of Yasharel were in the valley of Elah, fighting with the Philistine. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with the keeper, and took and went as Yishai had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to fight, and shouted for battle. And Yasharel and the Philistine put the battle in array, army against army. Wow. Armies against army. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage, and ran into the army, and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath, by name, out of the armies of the Philistine, and spoke according to the same word, and David heard them. And all the men of Yasharel, when they saw the man, fled from him, and were so afraid. And the men of Yasharel said, have ye seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Yasharel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who kills him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Yasharel. And David spoke to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that kills this Philistine, and take away the reproach from Yasharel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defile the army of the living Elohim? And the people answered him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done to the man that kills him. And Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spoke unto the men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said, why came ye down hither? And with whom have you left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know your pride and the wickedness of your heart. For you are come down that you might see the battle. And David said, what have I now done? Is there not a cause? And he turned from him towards another, and spoke after the same manner. And people answered him again after the former manner. And when the words were heard which David spoke, they rehearsed him before Shaul, and he sent for him. And David said to Shaul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Your servants will go and fight with this Philistine. And Shaul said unto David, you are not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for you are but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. And David said unto Shaul, your servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock, and he went out after him, and smote him, and delivered him out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. And your servant slew both the lion and the bear. And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he has defied the armies of the living Elohim. David said, moreover, Yahuwah that delivered me out of the paws of the lion and out of the paw of the bear will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Shaul said unto El David, go, and Yahuwah be with you. And Shaul armed David with his armor, and he put a helmet of brass upon his head, and also he armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded a sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, and he had not proved it. And David said unto El Shaul, I cannot go with this, for I have not proved them. And David put them off him. What next did he do? And he took a staff in his hand. He took a staff in his hand and chose in 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag, which he had, even in a scrip, and a sling was in his hand, and he drew near the Philistine. Now, this is one particular scripture that they mostly use in the Christian church to deceive our people. They will say the 5 stones that he picked simplify the name Jesus. Stop that nonsense and stop lying. That he picked 5 stones is that he picked 5 stones. That is it. There is no significance to either I pick 5 stones or either I pick 3 stones. Maybe it's the name of Jesus and blah blah blah. You are allowed to deceive yourself. That he picked 5 stones. Let us check. Maybe it was those old 5 stones that he shot to kill that Philistine. Let us confirm. Verse 41. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto El David. And the man that bore the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, and ruddy, and of a fair countenance. And the Philistine said unto El David, am I a dog, that you come to me with stabs? And the Philistine cursed David by his Elohim, that's by his idol. And the Philistine said unto El David, come to me, and I will give your flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field. Then said David to the Philistine, you come to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to you in the name of Yahuwah Shavuot, the Elohai of the armies of Yasharel, whom you have defied. And this day will Yahuwah deliver you into my hand, and I will smite you, and will take your head from you, and I will give the carcass of the host of the Philistine this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is an Elohim with a capital E in the Asherel. And all this assembly shall know that Yahuwah saves not with sword nor spear, but for the battle is Yahuwah's, and he will give you into our hands. And it came to pass, when the Philistine arose and came and drew near to meet David, that David hasted and ran towards the army to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand on his bag, and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead, and it fell upon his face to the earth. And David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine, and slew him, but there was no sword in the hands of David. Can you now see that for those in Christian church, I will say the 5 stones that it took simplifies the JESUS they gave to you, the Azus which they gave to you. But the Bible also that it was only one stone that was short that killed the Philistine, not the whole 5 stones. So that's to tell you, for those in the Christian church, I will say it is the letter J that is shot at the Philistine and he died. Listen up. Go and make your research. Go back and make your research. Letter J is just less than 600 years old. Letter J is just less than 600 years old. Meanwhile, the Messiah that even died, that they gave that name, which was actually a fake name, they gave him that name. He himself, he walked this earth and he died over 2,000 years ago. Comparing to his great grandfather, his ancestor, which was David. David he had died over 3,000 years ago. So how is it possible for David to pick 5 stones, which will signify a name of somebody that the name was propounded just 600 years after, 600 years recently, which is after over 2,000 years that he had died? How can they tell me now that the names of the stones that he was with him was the name that belonged to an imposter that was never existing when the Messiah ever walked this earth? So telling that religion is scam. Everything from A to Z of religion is nothing but bullshit. It's nothing but lies, fallacies, and doom to mankind. Let them stop deceiving you. The Bible itself says, the book of Revelation chapter 4 verse 2, that we should not add or diminish from this word. For those of you who are adding to the word, you are bringing a curse upon yourself. And that's the fact. Let's press on. Verse 51. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine and took his sword and drew it out of the sheath thereof and slew him and cut off his head therewith. And when the Philistine saw their champion was dead, they fled. And the men of Yasharel and of Yehuda arose and shouted and pursued the Philistine until you come to the valley and to the gate of Ekron, and the wounded of the Philistine fell down by the way of Arayim, even unto Gath and unto Ekron. And the children of Yasharel returned from chasing after the Philistine, and they spoiled their tents. And David took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem, and he put his armor in his tent. And when Shaul saw David go forth against the Philistine, and he said unto Abner, the captain of the host, Abner, whose son is this youth? And Abner said, as your soul lives, O king, I cannot tell. And the king said, inquire you whose son this stripling is. And as David returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, Abner took him and brought him before Shaul with the head of the Philistine in his hand. And Shaul said unto him, whose son are you, you young man? And David answered, I am the son of your servant Yeshai. The bait Hal-Lakem 18. And it came to pass, when he has made an end of speaking unto El Shaul, that the soul of Jehonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jehonathan loved him as his own soul. And Shaul took him that day and would not let him go no more from his father's house. Then Jehonathan and David cut a covenant because he loved him as his own soul. And Jehonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him and gave it to David, and his garment, and even even to his sword, and to his bow, and his belt, and to his belt. And David went out whithersoever Shaul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. And Shaul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and in also in the sight of Shaul's servant. And it came to pass, as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines, that the women came out of the cities of Yasharel, singing and dancing to meet King Shaul, and with timbrels, with joy, and with instruments of music. And the women answered one another as they played and said, Shaul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s. And Shaul was very wroth, and the saints displeased him, and he said, they have ascribed unto David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed but thousands. And what can he have more but the kingdom? And Shaul eyed David from that day and forward. And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil ruach from Elohim came upon El Shaul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house. And David played with his hand as at other times, and there was a javelin in Shaul's hand. And Shaul cast the javelin from, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it. And David avoided out of his presence twice. And Shaul was afraid of David, because Yahuwah was with him, and was departed from Shaul. Verse 13. And Shaul removed him from him, and made him his captain over 1,000. And he went out and came in before the people. And David behaved himself wisely in his ways, in all his ways, and Yahuwah was with him. Wherefore, when Shaul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him. But all Yasharel and Yahudah loved David, because he went out and came in before them. And Shaul said unto El David, Behold, my elder daughter Merav, how will I give you to be your woman? Only be valiant, for me, and fight Yahuwah's battle. For Shaul said, Let not my hand be upon him, but let the hand of the Philistine be upon him. And David said unto El Shaul, Who am I, and what is my life or my father's family in Yasharel, that I should be son-in-law to the king? But it came to pass, at the time when Merav, Shaul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given unto Adriel the Mecholathi to be his woman. And Michal, yes, Shaul's daughter, loved David. And they told Shaul, and the thing pleased him. And Shaul said, I will give him her, that she may be a snare to him, and that the hand of the Philistine may be against him. Wherefore Shaul said unto El David, You shall this day be my son-in-law in one of the two. And Shaul commanded the servant, saying, Commune with El David secretly, and say, Behold, the king was delighted in you, and all the servants loved you. Now therefore be the king's son-in-law. And Shaul's servant spoke this word in the ears of David. And David said, Does it seem to you a light thing to be a king's son-in-law, seeing that I am a poor man and lightly esteemed? And the servant of Shaul told him, saying, On this manner spoke David. And Shaul said, Thou shalt ye say to David, the king desire not any dowry, but 100 foreskin of the Philistine, to be avenged of the king's enemy. But Shaul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistine. And when a servant told David this word, It pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law, and the days were not expired. Wherefore David arose and went, he and his men, and slew of the Philistines 200 men. And David brought their foreskin and gave them in full measure to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law. And Shaul gave him Michal, his daughter, to be his woman. And Shaul saw and knew that Yahuwah was with David, and that Michal, Shaul's daughter, loved him. And Shaul was yet the more afraid of David, and Shaul became David's enemy continually. Then the princes of the Philistines went forth, and it came to pass, after they went, that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Shaul, so that his name was much set by. Just imagine that. Now we're in chapter 19. And Shaul spoke to Jonathan, his son, and to all his servants, they that shall kill David. But Jonathan, Shaul's son, delighted much in David. And Jehonathan, told David, saying, Shaul my father seeks to kill you. Now therefore I pray you, take it to yourself until the morning, and abide in a secret place, and hide yourself. And I will go out and stand before my father in the field where you are, and I will commune with my father of you, and what I say, that I will tell you. And Jonathan spoke good of David unto Shaul his father, and said unto him, let not the king sin against his servant, against David, because he has not sinned against you, and because his work have been to you word very good. And he put his life in his hand, and slew the Philistine. And Yahuwah wrought a great salvation for all Yasharel. You saw it, and did rejoice. Wherefore then will you sin against innocent blood, to slay David without a cause? And Shaul hearkened unto the voice of Jehonathan, and Shaul swore, as Yahuwah lives, he shall not be slain. And Jehonathan called David, and Jehonathan showed him all those things. And Jehonathan brought David to Shaul, and he was in his presence as in time past. And there was war again. And David went out and slew them with the great slaughter, and they fled from him. And the evil ruach of Yahuwah was upon Shaul, as he sat in his house with his javelin in his hand. And David played with his hand, and Shaul sought to smite David even to the wall with the javelin, but he slipped away out of Shaul's presence, and he smote the javelin into the wall, and David fled and escaped after that night. Shaul also sent messengers unto David's house to watch him and to slay him in the morning. And Michal, David's woman, told him, saying, If you save not your life tonight, tomorrow you will be slain. So Michal let David down through the window, and he went down and fled and escaped. And Michal took a teraphim and laid it in the bed, and put a pillow of goat's hair for his bluster, and covered it with a cloth. And when Shaul sent messengers to take David, she said, He is sick. And Shaul sent the messenger again to see David, saying, Bring him up to me in the bed, that I may slay him. And when the messenger came, and when the messenger were come in, behold, there was a teraphim in the bed, with a pillow of goat's hair for his bluster. And Shaul said unto Michal, Why have you deceived me so, and sent away my enemy, that he is escaped? And Melchizedek answered El Shaul. He said unto him, Let me go. He said unto me, Let me go. Why should I kill you? So David fled and escaped and came to El Shemu'el to Ramah and told him all that Shaul had done to him. And he and Shemuel went and dwelt in Nabith. And it was told Shaul, saying, Behold, David is at Nabith in Ramah. And Shaul sent messengers to take David. And when they saw the company of the prophets prophesying, and Shemuel standing as appointed over them, the Ruach Elohim was upon the messengers of Shaul, and they also prophesied. And it was told Shaul, he sent other messengers, and they prophesied likewise. And Shaul sent messengers again the third time, and they prophesied also. Then went he also to Ramah, and came to a great well that it is Seku. And he asked and said, Where is Shemuel and David? And one said, Behold, they are at Nabith in Ramah. And they went thither to Nabith in Ramah, and the Ruach Elohim was upon him also. And he went on and prophesied until he came to Nabith in Ramah, and he stripped off his clothes also, and prophesied before Shemuel in like manner, and lay down naked all that day and all that night. Wherefore they say, is Shaul also among the prophets? Let us take this last chapter for the day and make it a wrap up. And David fled, chapter 20. And David fled from Nabith in Ramah, and came and said before Jehonathan, What have I done? What is my iniquity? And what is my sin before your father, that he seek my life? And he said unto him, Far be it, you shall not die. Behold, my father will do nothing, either great nor small, but that he will show it me. And why should my father hide this thing from me? It is not so. And David swore moreover, and said, Your father certainly knows that I have found grace in your eyes. And he says, Let not your Jehonathan know this, lest he be grieved. It was truly as Yahuwah lives, and as your soul lives, and there is but a step between me and death. Then said Jehonathan to El David, Whatsoever your soul desires, I will even do it for you. And David said unto El Jehonathan, Behold, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with the king to eat. But let me go, that I may hide myself in the field until the third day at evening. And if your father at all miss me, then say, David earnestly asked leave of me, that he might run to Bethlehem, his city, for there is a yearly sacrifice there for all the family. And if he say thus, it is well, your servant shall have peace. But if he was very wroth, then be sure that evil is determined by him. Therefore you shall deal kindly with your servant, for you have brought your servant into a covenant of Yahuwah with you. Notwithstanding, if there be in me iniquity, slay me yourself. For why should you bring me to your father? And Jehonathan said, Far be it from you, for if I knew certainly that evil were determined by my father to come upon you, then would not I tell it you? Then said David to El Jehonathan, Who shall tell me? Or what if your father answer you roughly? And Jehonathan said unto El David, Come, and let us go out into the field. And they went out both of them into the field. And Jehonathan said unto El David, O Yahuwah Elohai of Yasharel, when I have sounded my father about tomorrow any time, or the third day, And behold, if there be good towards El David, and I then send not unto you, and show it you, Yahuwah do so, and much more to Yehonathan. But if it please my father to do you evil, then I will show it you and send you away, that you may go in peace, and Yahuwah be with you, and as he has been with my father. And you shall not only while yet I live show me the kindness of Yahuwah, that I die not, but also you shall not cut off your kindness from my house forever. No, not when Yahuwah has cut off the enemies of David, everyone from the face of the earth. So Yehonathan cut a covenant with the house of David, saying, let Yahuwah even require it at the hand of David's enemies. And Yehonathan caused David to swear again, because he loved him, for he loved him as he loved his own soul. And then Yehonathan said unto David, tomorrow is the new moon, and you shall be missed, because your seat will be empty. And when you have stayed 3 days, then you shall go down quickly and come to the place where you did hide yourself when the business was in hand, and shall remain by the stone Ezel. And I will shoot 3 arrows on the side thereof, as though I shoot at a mark. And behold, I will send a lad, saying, go, find out the arrow. And if I expressly say unto the lad, behold, the arrow are on this side of you, take them, then come there, for there is peace to you, and no hurt, as Yahuwah lives. But if I say unto the young man, behold, the arrow are beyond you, go your way, for Yahuwah has sent you away. And as touching the matter which you and I have spoken of, behold, Yahuwah be between you and me forever. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat him down to eat, and the king sat upon his seat, as at other times, even upon the seat by the wall. And Yehonathan arose, and Abner sat by Shaul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Shaul spoke not anything that day, for he thought something has befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the 2nd day of the month, that David's place was empty, and Shaul and Yehonathan his son. Wherefore come not the son of Yishai to meet, neither yesterday nor today? And Yehonathan answered Shaul, David earnestly asked leave of me to go to Bethlehem, and he said, let me go, I pray you, for our family as a sacrifice in the city, and my brother, he has commanded me to be there. And now, if I have found favor in your eyes, let me get away, I pray you, and see my brethren. Therefore, he comes not unto the king's table. Then Shaul's anger was kindled against Yehonathan, and said unto him, you son of a perverse, rebellious woman, do not I know that you have chosen the son of Yishai to your own confusion, and also the confusion of your mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Yishai lives upon the ground, you shall not be established, nor your kingdom. Wherefore, now send and fetch him unto me, for he shall surely die. And Jonathan answered Shaul his father, and said unto him, behold, wherefore shall he be slain? What has he done? And Shaul cast a javelin at him to smite him, whereby Yehonathan knew that it was determined of his father to slay David. So Yehonathan arose from the table in fierce anger, and did eat no meat the 2nd day of the month. And he was grieved for El David, because his father had done him shame. And it came to pass in the morning, that Jehonathan went out into the field at the time appointed with David, and a little lad with him. And he said unto the lad, Run, find out now the arrow which I shoot. And as the lad ran, he shot the arrow beyond him. And when the lad was come to the place of the arrow which Jehonathan had shot, Jehonathan cried after the lad and said, Is not the arrow beyond you? And Jehonathan cried after the lad, Make speed, haste, stay not. And Jehonathan's lad gathered the arrows and came to his Adonai. But the lad knew not anything. Only Jehonathan and David knew the matter. And Jehonathan gave his artillery unto his lad, and unto him, Go them to the city. As soon as the lad was gone, David arose out of the place toward Negev, and fell on his face to the ground, and bowed himself 3 times, and kissed one together one another, and wept one with another, until David expired. And Jehonathan said to David, Go in peace, for as much as we have sworn, both of us, in the name of Yahweh, who will be between you and between my seed and your seed forever. And he arose and departed, and Jehonathan went into the city. Wow. Look at how their friendship was so tight that he couldn't betray David as his father was expecting to kill him. So with this, we get round up on today's episode of the show. I remain your humble host, Daniel Yashirala. And with this, I say shalom and bye for now.